border bubble between New South Wales and Victoria has been broadened, allowing residents to move more freely. Danica DiGiorgio joins us live now. Danica, the Premier is saying that she really wants to help out those border communities that have been doing it so tough.
Ash, it has been difficult for the last 6 weeks in those border towns. Some families have been ripped apart, others haven't been able to go to work, and businesses have really suffered due to that 2.5 kilometre buffer zone with strict permits. But as of Friday, the Premier has announced that that border zone will be extended to 50 kilometres. I'll take you through some of the permit conditions. They include to obtain goods or services for care or compassionate reasons, or to attend work and education services. For New South Wales residents, they will be allowed to enter Victoria for those allowed reasons, but they must not leave the border region. And for Victorian residents, they can enter Victoria for the allowed reasons. They must not leave the border region, and they cannot enter if they have been to Melbourne. Now, the New South Wales Premier says that today's decision is based on lowering case numbers in Victoria. She says her heart goes out to a number of these border regions that have certainly suffered, but hopes that Friday brings some positivity.
I deeply acknowledge and regret anyone who's experienced unnecessary hurt or angst, but please know that any decision we took was from a place of good motivation, was to keep everybody safe, including our border communities.
At this stage, the government says that they cannot decide when they might open the southern border completely to Victoria. The Deputy Premier was hopeful that this would have occurred before Christmas, but today the Premier said that at this stage they don't have full faith in the Victorian contact tracing numbers.
A very difficult decision to do it in the first place, and as soon as the health advice to me says, Premier, it's no longer a health risk, my government will jump at that opportunity.
400 members of the Defence Force remain on the ground at the border checkpoints. Interestingly, there have been more than 1.2 million movements to and from New South Wales and Victoria over the last 6 weeks. Today, the Agriculture Ministers will hold a national meeting to try and come up with a code allowing agriculture workers to be classified as essential workers so they can cross the border freely. We know that the agriculture industry and farmers have certainly suffered during this time. If they reach a consensus, it will be taken to National Cabinet on Friday for final approval. Ash, 13 new cases recorded in New South Wales overnight. 2 of those are returned travellers in hotel quarantine. The others are linked to known cases.